Hi, guys, and today I will be taking you back to how I started. Um, Early last year, I had registered for an AI product course because my background was in product development, product management, and the course was very, very helpful. Helpful in the sense of it was instructor led and real time, so it wasn't just like pre-recorded anything. So it was interactive enough. There were a bunch of us in the cohort. And for me, looking back, it was a basic and obvious course, but at the time, it was my doorway into this deeper hood of things. And like I said in my previous video, it built the curiosity that just took me through the whole of last year. It was just trying to understand how things work. I had seen automations being used on Instagram or comment this and you get a DM instantly or whatever the case might be. So I finished the course and I was hungry for more. So I had started by trying to replicate Instagram automations of having make.com um, canvases or workflows. And I had done that. I was, for some reason, a bit not impressed with those. So I took it a step further. And what I had started to do was I had started to pay for multiple AI tools. So I paid for Midjourney. I've been paying for ChatGPT maybe since it launched. And then I had paid for Replit. And I think Replit was a good one. However, or maybe Replit was a bit down the line. The way I'd thought about it was I'd started consuming a lot of content as well, watching videos of people who had built workflows for local businesses, amongst other things. So, a dental workflow call center assistant. So one of the first things I did, because in the course that I took, we had built a chatbot for a website, and we also embedded RAG, which is another concept in AI, retrieval augmented generation, right? And for me, it was like, okay, while I've seen a lot of videos, I know that the world or America is big enough. So how about I consider scraping the internet for businesses with websites that don't have chatbots? So that was one of the first things I ever did. And I vibe coded it, but not in the 0 to 1 vibe code. And the idea I'd had was, okay, just go on ChatGPT or Google and try to find out if there are any GitHub open source repositories that have scraping algos. So the same thing I did with the Instagram automations, I went to GitHub or I went on ChatGPT and I just asked like which GitHub um repos have open scraping um code bases or whatever the case is. And immediately I found that I tweaked it to my criteria. So mine was okay, businesses that are doing well enough. There was no way for me to figure out revenue, but the target was New York, New Jersey, scrape businesses in the following sectors by going on their websites and be certain that they don't have chatbots. And it was such a marvel to watch because this is you connecting Airtable, connecting different things via just asking ChatGPT. And I did it the long route back in February because it was a lot of you take this code from um what's it called? You take this code from GitHub and then you have ChatGPT and then you go to terminal and you're asking ChatGPT for commands literally and giving ChatGPT responses to the errors that you're getting on your command line. And it was such, when I look back now, it was such a tedious and arduous task. But because of the excitement, the challenge, this new terrain, it didn't feel like it. Like I would spend hours just back and forth in. the three-way play of, okay, this is chat GPT, this is terminal, and then this is me testing it to see if it's working. In the end, it worked. This was maybe after a few days, and I think that was the insane thing. I would spend 12 plus hours just working on this, and then by the time it worked, it ran for a while, and I got about 14,000 businesses, and then had to do the cleaning of the data to make sure there weren't duplicates. I had to manually just randomly test hundreds to be sure that, okay, it scraped websites that didn't have bots. And then I learned a lot along the way. For example, warming up emails to make sure you emailed folks. But then I quickly realized that a lot of email addresses outside of the data not being clean were very generalist email addresses that wouldn't really get you any decisive person. But for me, I never really focused on that because when I set out, that really wasn't my goal. I wasn't just trying to get into the automation business and start making money immediately. That might be another shortcoming I have because I tend to be patient and focus on what I want to focus on, which is at the time, the goal for me was to learn. Like I just wanted to learn how different pieces of the puzzle worked. And then that worked really successfully because I did it multiple times. I really never ended up contacting any business, but I started to understand what my workflow was. And that word is one that you want to keep in mind because one of the things that AI does or is going to do is it's going to inform new workflows. And part of what you'd learn if you're not there already is that you need to understand your current workflow in order to design an AI enabled or AI inclusive or AI powered workflow. So I figured out to a degree with my long process what the workflow was. And then I stumbled on a Replit. And then I started vibe coding in Replit, and it was very, very mind blowing for me. At the time, a huge part of my workflow was chatting with Replit back and forth to build out something. And then while I was on this journey was when I thought that, you know what, I'm doing a lot of this work, but I do so much in a week that at the end of the week, I actually do not remember what I did at the start of the week. So I wasn't documenting, which once again, maybe I haven't ever been a coder professionally, so I wasn't even pushing anything to GitHub. I wasn't committing or anything. So I decided, you know what, how about a blog? And at the time, I just thought about this name because of where I was at the time, which was I was doing a lot of work and collaboration with AI models. So I just thought, okay, mind meets model. And the name, I guess the three M's rolled off the tongue. It was my mind, me reshaping my mind and enriching my mind or my brain. And it was the models. I was playing with different models and I just looked it out. The domain name was available. I locked it in and it was the first website that I vibe coded. And it was it went from where it was to where it is today. And I just started to articulate it and design it. And then some of the next things that I tried to do, I would explain in consequent videos. But at the time, I was fully still on my laptop or my Mac Mini, which is just another machine. And I would just vibe code. And it was the blend between ChatGPT, me maybe reaching out to ChatGPT, articulating myself, and then asking it for a stronger prompt for what I was trying to achieve, and then taking that prompt to Replit, and Replit does the job. ChatGPT will give me like design terminologies, color codes, and stuff like that, and I'll take it to Replit, and Replit would build it out. And for me, it was good to see it come to life. So you vibe code it, you post it on Replit, and then you start to share it and people are like, oh, this site is really good, and you're fascinated by the fact that just with human natural language you can make this happen. And for me, that was one of the the fundamental shifts that existed in my head. And it was one of those shifts that excited me and frightened me at the same time. And this was because it felt like I don't think people know what is coming. I don't know that people understand that you can think something, take your time to articulate it, and that translation layer of thought to articulation is going to be one of the most important things that everybody who decides to get into this space needs to figure out. People might call it prompt engineering, but it starts here. And it's your ability to articulate your thoughts. And the richer you are in the field that you're trying to build a solution or get a result, the luckier you are. It still doesn't mean you're great at articulating your thoughts, but you're a step ahead of somebody who doesn't understand this. Art is always the example I would use, maybe because I started trying to learn with Mid-Journey, where if you're not into photography, art, or the visual world, you might not get as great enough prompts as somebody who is able to define the color gradient, the color scheme, or the colors themselves, as well as if it's art, like be as articulate or as direct, or the right word isn't hitting me right now, to say, oh, oil on canvas, hyper realistic, this. As a regular person, you would learn these things over time. But as with somebody who that's the world they're coming from, and they've done a job of the translation layer of idea or thought to articulation, they will do a much better job in prompting. And for me, that was the aha moment. Like, we called it prompt engineering, but for me, it was you need to get better at articulating your thoughts, because AI models are just these things, servants that they have all the knowledge, but they rely on you to get the best out of them. And not to use the word servants, because that's a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Subjugating. But they are these tools that they're only as good as the person that is using them. And that was the aha moment where I need to maybe read more. I need to get a lot more, eloquent is not the word, intelligent in how I'm able to capture what it is that I want to accomplish. And for me, that was the beginning of another phase of the journey. I will stop here, and I hope that this translates to somebody somewhere who watches this video. We are in for a long, wild journey. I will be ending the video by saying that the next phase for me was the bridge between some of the other automations that I stepped into and me finally realizing, okay, while the third party models, and by third party, I mean the cloud-based models that we pay for, OpenAI, Claude, and Google's Gemini, amongst others, were great. To embark on the journey properly, I needed the right tools. And that was what led me to set up my AI lab. I guess this is a good place to stop, and we will continue next time. All right. Take care. And once again, I hope it's been valuable to somebody. This is me and my journey, and I do hope it speaks to somebody who is on theirs, about to start theirs, or further along on theirs to probably give feedback or steer me in directions that they think I need to be looking, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I appreciate you watching. I am your faithful YouTuber, Babs.